also had a home water birth, and it was, I would say, it's so peaceful. And my girls were there. My older one's 5 and 2-year-old, and yeah, it felt like the time stood still. And yeah, I breathed baby out, and it was so peaceful. She came out. She didn't cry. I was looking at her, and then after that, I rubbed her back, and she cried. It was just the magical birth that I wanted. And my husband was there. My mother was there. Yeah, and it was so amazing.
Welcome to another episode of Yana TV, where we have authentic conversations, yes, with impactful and conscious people of Asia. And today is January 2025. Happy New Year to everyone. And we decided to start this year and this episode with babies. The next day after we launched Yana TV, I realized that baby Maya is on the way, who clearly wants to be part of the camera. So today, baby Maya decided to invite her friends. And let's look who is in this video. So that is Siddhartha, his mama Emma, and this is Jasper, yes, with mama Tichan, and this is Hannah with mama Sarah. So hello babies, hello mamas.
Hi.
And let's start with some quick questions and answers where you just say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? So, your birth. At home or at the hospital?
Home. Hospital. Home.
With doula or without?
Yes. Without.
Without.
Yes.
With doula.
With doula.
Okay. Baby came before 40 weeks or after 40 weeks?
Before. Before. Before.
Epidural, without epidural? Well, no epidural.
No epidural.
Epidural?
Without.
Without.
No.
Without. Did you know the sex of the baby before, or it was a surprise?
We knew.
I knew, yeah, we knew.
We also knew that you were coming. Yes, we did. What we're gonna ask right now, we wanna know if the mama, Tishan, can share with us just her birth story.
I think my daughter likes to tell this story. So our daughter Juniper is 3.5, and so she was at the birth. My husband was there, Jasper was there, and it was at home. And I think it was one of the most magical, beautiful experiences that I could have. You know, Jasper came into the world very calmly, very serenely, just surrounded with so much love. The next morning I had choir practice, so I think I had like that on my mind. But you know, I sang through the labor, I labored in the hammock, and he just came I had a water birth, so he arrived in the tub, and it was just, I breathed him out.
Yes.
What time was it? What time?
In the morning, yeah, so it was like really early in the morning.
Okay, so it's a morning baby.
Like 3 a.m. kind of morning. So yeah, but it was just so peaceful, and it was you know, the home that I grew up in, so really special. Yeah.
You were not scared to give a home birth?
No, I think also second birth.
Okay.
So, you know, I think there is that, you know, I've done it before, kind of feeling, but also, you know, I knew I had done my research. And I think there's a lot of trust in birth, especially after having an older one. And even before, you know, just trust in the body to do what it needs, and trust that we're going to work together, right, Jasper?
I know they often say also during pregnancy and especially during birth that you work with your baby.
Yeah, and I feel like we made a good team, right, Jasper?
Very interesting. Okay, Siddhartha, what is your birth story?
So Siddhartha, I knew I was going to go to the hospital already because he's my second baby. So I did the same process with my first one, and I really trusted my doctor. I told myself I do not want to go into the hospital early because I want to make sure that I just labor it out at home. So compared to the first time where I was a bit anxious and I went into the hospital, I was only 2 cm dilated. This time, I went in, I was 6 cm dilated already, and he came out in an hour.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I felt it was a really nice, peaceful process because I was just laboring at home on my ball, walking around. You know, I had my dog with me, and you know, just it was just so nice to just be at home. And then it was time to go to the hospital, and yeah, I just let it happen. I let nature take its course. Yeah.
Another question I wanted to ask during, you know, our first quick question and answer, was the husband present at the birth?
Yes.
So that's...
Actually, in fact, for me, my husband was pretty much like my doula because he was the one encouraging me throughout, okay, you got this, you know, this contraction's gonna go. And he was just giving me all these words of encouragement and also breathing along with me and pressing my back. So he was pretty much my doula.
Nice.
Hi, Maya.
Okay, thank you, sweetheart. It's a beautiful story. Hi. Okay, baby Hannah. What is the birth story of baby Hannah?
So for her, I also had a home water birth, and it was, I would say, it's so peaceful. And my girls were there. My older one's 5 and 2-year-old, and yeah, it felt like the time stood still. And yeah, I breathed baby out, and it was so peaceful. She came out. She didn't cry. I was looking at her, and then after that, I rubbed her back, and she cried. It was just the magical birth that I wanted. And my husband was there. My mother was there. Yeah, and it was so amazing. A lot of people think that when kids are in births, it's always very chaotic, but they were actually very respectful, and they were in awe of seeing their sister come out. So it was so nice, yeah.
I think it's so beautiful actually for the babies to witness sisters or brothers.
It
to,
really
you know,
is.
to
Yeah,
be-
just normalizing it.
Yeah,
right?
it's normalizing it.
There's no
Exactly.
fear around it, but they get to see it and to witness it so early is such a gift.
And they're actually okay. Like, I thought they were gonna be freaked out with the blood and everything, but they were like, everything was fine.
And first of all, we don't talk enough about birth, so thank you for sharing your stories, especially on camera. And Maya's birth was at the hospital. Yes, it was at the hospital. It was long. It was 19 hours, so it was not 1 hour. But eventually, she came out, and it was exactly like this. So, which was very, very powerful experience. Okay, so your postpartum experience. Yes, sweetheart.
Yeah.
So I feel that often we don't talk enough about the postpartum and also the support that mothers need. So if you just would like to share, how was it for you? Who would like to start? Who was the brave one?
I guess I can go. Yeah, I mean, I think I was been quite intentional about it. So I practiced the whole 5-5-5 approach. So
Which is?
5 days in the bed, 5 days on the bed, 5 days around the bed. And
I did
birth
the same.
itself was actually very, I think generally quite smooth, but I really wanted to prioritize recovery and resting. So even though I was feeling okay, I was really taking the time to slow down. And I think that's such a gift, you know. I'm usually someone that's always on the go. But I think especially because this is the second time around, I think I know how fast it goes. So I really wanted to savor it and slow down, which is not my normal speed. And and just savoring that time together with baby, but also taking time to rest as much as I could, I think. But a lot more ease this time around, I think. You know, just knowing what I need and knowing how to ask for what I need. But something that I think Hima and I talked about was actually that surprised us was the after birth pains that I didn't, and apparently it gets stronger with every baby. Because overall I was like, oh, this is fine, like, but yeah, you know, I wasn't prepared for like that you can still get surges after you give birth, and it gets stronger with each child.
How did you care of yourself? Did you do postpartum massages or that thing?
I did. Oh yeah, so I did massages,
Okay, you want
the
to stand?
food,
Okay.
and I did a variation of the food options. I also only had red date tea and lemongrass tea. My mom did not let me drink water.
What was the most difficult part of the postpartum, if anything at all?
I think just finding things to like slow down, and at the same time, you know, like I think it's just the relationship with time. You know, so after the 5-5-5, I was like, okay, I think I need to go out now. So managing that and my own expectations for myself, because you know, I wanted to make sure I prioritize recovery, but also listening to what I needed. So the constant recalibration.
I love how we try to have a conversation. But yes, that's why we talk about the importance to have support in the postpartum.
Yeah. Oh, I think one thing was actually having my husband around less this time around, because he was looking, you know, he was taking care of the older one. That was harder, I think, just because the first time he was around for like, you know, with me and baby all the time.
Okay, well,
No,
thank
but-
you for sharing.
Yeah.
So, Emma,
So for me, yeah, because it's my second baby, so it's definitely a lot better this time round. You know what to expect. And of course, yeah, the pains were a lot more like that postpartum, healing was a lot more, I guess, different. I guess, I don't know, maybe we were also younger back then, it was just easier. But I think also with the experience, you learn and you know what to do. And I felt that this time around, I made sure that I had a community. So it was very nice that Tieta and I, we would go for walks in the morning. Yeah, so right after our 1 month confinement, we would just go down to McRitchie, just have a morning walk with our babies and just have some time to talk, you know, mother to mother, new mom to new mom, and just share. And sometimes that helps. that helps you process all the emotions,
That's true. I think
intense
community
emotions
was
much
bigger this time around.
Yes,
right?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
Mindful Mama Walks organized by Tichan, who said she wants to have support. And we met the whole other way, but you and I met this way. And so those who are watching us right now, if you want to meet us and the babies in real life, if you mama with the young babies, join us for Mindful Mama Walks. And the link's going to be in the description. What was the most joyful moment of the postpartum?
Joyful.
Yes.
Oh, I guess the most joyful moment. Okay, postpartum massages, definitely. I recommend everyone needs to have them.
It's that time for yourself. You
Wow.
really like, it's like
And they're like 2 hours.
I loved it. I just felt like, wow, this is just me time, relaxing. And I think also seeing my daughter interact with my baby, this new baby, that was it's magical.
sweet, right?
So
Seeing them
special.
become-
Yeah, so that was the two most wonderful things. And I guess the most challenging part for me was managing that postpartum, that hormone shifts, you know. So I'm always a very chill, cool mom with my daughter. And this time around, I don't know why, I remember one day I just lost it because she was not having her dinner. She didn't want to shower, and I was managing this new baby, 2-week-old baby. And then she was like, I'm not gonna, and I just put my hands on the table. I was like, you are doing it now. You are going to, I was like, wait, what did I just do? I had to check myself because I just lost it. And that had never happened. And after that whole episode, I told myself, you know what? This is postpartum. This is real. Your hormones, you know, you can't control them sometimes. And that is when your partner is so important. To come in and say, you know, I think it's time for you to check out. Now I come in, I take over. You go. You go with the baby.
I definitely, can relate to this. I definitely remember also for me a few times during the postpartum when my husband walked, and I'm like, I'm tired. I didn't sleep for so many weeks. I can't do it anymore. He's like, okay,
Gentle.
I'm canceling all my meetings. I'm staying home today, honey. I'm here. So I think it's so important, and also just community.
Yeah,
Like, I
building
remember-
that village, you know, it doesn't
Exactly.
automatically exist. I think we like to think that it does, but I think you have to be pretty intentional about building it. That's family or your chosen family or friends, and like surrounding yourself with the support.
Yes, and it's like,
that
you know,
you
when
need.
they say that it takes a village to raise a child, and what about the mom? It takes a village to actually
Takes a
help
village
a
to
mom to
welcome
become
a
a
mother.
mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so thank you for sharing. And Sarah, so how was your postpartum?
Okay, so my third postpartum this time around, it was better because my husband, it's like a seasonal dad now, like he knows what to do. So he was doing all of the things, and I was just in the bed, resting for 15 days, like the 555
Yeah.
with her. And at first it was a bit awkward because I'm always the kind that needs to do something to feel like, okay, today is worth it, like today was good. But then after a few days, I realized that this is the time for me to actually sit down and soak in everything that was, this time around it was good as a third time mom, but also again, the hormones were all over the place. I had moments where I just, was just crying about the smallest things, like my husband forgetting to get for me chili sauce, like, huh? Like,
I understand.
It's just so funny, right?
Yeah, you just feel everything like 10 times.
Yeah, so, but then we already knew that was going to happen, so then we're just like, okay, it's just postpartum. We were just more kind with ourselves this
Yeah.
time around, yeah.
I think the partners can also remind themselves. My husband reminded himself.
Yes.
It's just postpartum. It's
Yes.
like,
They are more
not- it's not-
understanding,
it's not-
right?
Right?
It's not my life.
you know, it's not. And I
it's-
think sometimes in those moments it can feel like everything, but when you know that it's there are hormonal shifts, there's going to be logistical shifts, dynamics in the family as well, then I think we manage it, differently.
If you were to give one advice to a woman who is about to give birth, like what would you say? Hammer?
Woman who's about to give birth. Okay. I think
Hello, it's
sometimes it's very normal to want to read everything and find out what is about to happen. I want to know, I want to be prepared. But let me just tell these women, you will never be prepared. Just go with the flow and embrace, trust yourself. I think the most important thing is there will be people telling you this and telling you that, and sometimes it's just too much. And there's so much on the internet as well, right? So it's just best to just trust yourself. You know best, and you know what's best for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think just building on that. Yeah, my husband always says there's a lot of experts out there, but at the end of the day, you are the expert of your own child, right?
And your
I
own
think-
body when you're pregnant,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yes.
I think what I would tell a mom that's about to give birth, I think is to really, I mean, take this moment in time, right? Especially if it's their first baby, you know, it'll never be this way again. And just remembering to be present with it. I think it's easy to want to do it right and to be perfect and to get it perfect. And there's, you know, the reality and something I always have to remind myself, there's no perfect mother, right? You know, there is this aspiration, right? I think this aspirational mindset, especially now with like social media and things to try and get it right, because we have all the information, right? How can we not? But at the same time, to remind ourselves that a present parent is much more important than a perfect parent.
Oh, I love
and,
that. I love that.
And I think that's something I try to remind myself, and I like, you know, I'm just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Just to remind myself that just being present with my kids is more than enough. And the rest we will figure out with each step.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah.
For me, I always, because it's my third pregnancy and birth, I would say that whatever fear or concerns that you have during pregnancy, a lot of people would just like, okay, I'm just going to ignore it, I'm just going to suppress it. But it often comes in the birth, I would say. So, you know, whatever fear you have, it's nice to just sit with it and then ask yourself, why are you feeling this way? Figure out how to overcome it. Like for me, I had this immense fear of ring of fire. So that happens,
because you wanted to have the fetus ejection reflex, right?
Yeah, so I was so scared of the head, you know, crowning and then just stretching my whole perineum. So because of that, I just sat with those feelings and I figured out like, how do I overcome this? And then I found out that actually there are ways to manage it. And it came again for the third birth and I managed to do it, I managed to overcome it. So yeah.
That's so true. I feel like, you know, birth and motherhood brings out everything, right? The best and the things that you're avoiding as well. And, you know, so I feel like it's really an opportunity to evolve and transform, right? But to have the courage to face those fears, right? I think my fear was about losing my freedom and that identity of who I was.
15 years.
That's why I waited
so long with Maya.
And it was in the birth that I had to like confront it and be like, am I ready, right? Am I ready for, you know, my baby to come and like, and speak into that. But yeah, I think it's very true to take that time. And I don't think it'll ever be fully, you know, resolved.
It's just sitting with those feelings and, you know.
Not trying to run away.
Yeah.
So the final question is, a fun fact about your baby.
A fun fact is actually his name, how his name came about.
Yes, tell us. I love the name,
Siddhartha. So my husband actually read a book about Buddha, Gautama Siddhartha. I had no idea, right, that he did that when he was younger. And I really like this Indian movie actor.
Yes. I also saw that movie.
His name is Siddharth. So I always wanted to name my son Siddharth. And then my husband, who's Chinese, who has no clue who this actor is, just told me, oh, I like the name Siddharth because I read this book about Buddha and I would like to name our child. It's like, oh my goodness, how is it that both of us want to name him Siddhartha? So that's how he got his
That's a
name.
great interesting fact. Thank you.
So Jasper has been meditating with me every morning since he was in my belly. And when he was 7 months pregnant, he came with me on his first meditation retreat in my belly. And recently he attended a full day of mindfulness with me. Which I was I don't know, he says like the next level of, you know, I think calm, which brings out the calm in me as well. And, but yeah, my mom says he's like a Buddha baby.
This is a great fact. Sarah, what is the interesting fact about baby Hannah?
It's not so interesting, but I appreciate it. She's so chill and calm, which is really helpful I have 3 kids, so she's the chill one and the other 2 is so chaotic and just screaming, and she can just be like, whatever, you know, I'm just so chill. So I really appreciate
that.
Thank you so much for sharing.
So true.
Well, Maya's interesting fact, she is a 43 weeks baby, which is really rare, especially I think in Singapore. So I was not in a rush. My doctor was not in a rush. She was clearly not in the rush.
I love how you trusted.
Yeah, we just trusted. We're like, no problem, we're gonna wait. And also about the name, actually. You know, it's also interesting, like with my husband, how we arrived at the name Maya. It was, we have to choose. I was about maybe 7 months pregnant, so we sit down for lunch, I remember, and we're like, okay, let's talk about baby, the name. And we said this name at the same time together.
No,
it was like,
really?
I was thinking about it, and we both said Maya. Okay, thank you so much. I know we could just continue going on and on for hours, and we might do another episode at some point, but I think they are done for today. So thank you, thank you. And that was Babies and Mamas in Yana TV studio today, where we talked about birth stories and postpartum. And I do encourage you, if you're looking for the community, check our description. We are all meeting regularly with mamas. We go for walks, we do other activities. Wishing everyone an amazing 2025. See you next time.
For me, my husband, he was pretty much my doula.
So you had a doula then.
Yeah, it's my husband. Yeah.
That was Juniper for me. She says she was my doula.
So Juniper, the daughter, right?
Yeah, she was giving me coconut water, you know. She was, yeah.